For over 3,000 years of Chinese history, the dragon throne was reserved for men. The emperor was the son of heaven, the ultimate symbol of patriarchal power. Then, one woman shattered that tradition. She began as a lowly concubine, navigating the treacherous currents of the imperial court with cunning and ruthlessness. She outmaneuvered rivals, eliminated threats, ruled through her sons, and ultimately did the unthinkable. She declared herself emperor, the first and only woman to ever hold that title in Chinese history. This is the code of Wu Zetian. Her story begins in the 7th century AD, during the powerful Tang Dynasty. Born into a relatively influential family, Wu Zhao entered the palace of Emperor Taizong as a junior concubine at the age of 14. She was intelligent, beautiful, and literate, rare qualities for a woman of her time. But in the vast imperial harem, she was just one face among hundreds. The imperial harem was a viper's nest of jealousy, ambition, and lethal politics. Concubines constantly plotted against each other for the emperor's favor, which meant survival and status. As a lower-ranked concubine without powerful family backing within the court, Wu Zhao learned early on that intelligence and beauty were not enough. She needed allies, patience, and a deep understanding of the hidden currents of power that flowed through the Forbidden City. Her survival depended on her ability to observe, adapt, and remain unnoticed until the opportune moment. She failed to capture the emperor's significant attention and remained a lower-rank concubine. Her code began here: patience, observation, and waiting for the right moment. When Emperor Taizong died, tradition dictated that his childless concubines should have their heads shaved and be sent to a Buddhist monastery for the rest of their lives. It seemed her story was over before it began. But Wu Zhao was no ordinary concubine. Even before Taizong's death, she had begun a secret, forbidden affair with his son and heir, Prince Li Ji. This was an incredibly dangerous gamble. When Li Ji became Emperor Gaozong, he remembered the captivating woman from his father's harem. Against all tradition, he brought her back from the monastery to the palace, first as his own concubine, then quickly elevating her status. This was her second code, using seduction and personal connection not just for pleasure, but as a direct path back to power. Back in the palace, she faced a new battlefield, the vicious infighting of the imperial harem. Emperor Gaozong's current Empress Wang and his favored consort Xiao saw Wu Zhao as a threat and conspired against her. Wu fought back with unparalleled ruthlessness. In a chilling move, she allegedly smothered her own newborn daughter and framed Empress Wang for the crime. Whether true or a later fabrication by her enemies, the result was the same. The devastated emperor believed her, deposing Empress Wang and consort Xiao. Wu Zhao was elevated to Empress consort. She had reached the top of the harem, but her ambition was far from satisfied. Her influence over Emperor Gaozong became absolute. He was deeply in love with her and increasingly reliant on her sharp intellect due to his own recurring illnesses, possibly strokes. She wasn't just his wife, she became his closest advisor, his political partner. She learned the intricacies of statecraft by observing him, studying state documents, and offering her own counsel. She skillfully positioned herself not as a meddling consort, but as an indispensable aide, earning his complete trust while subtly consolidating her own influence. As Empress, she quickly moved beyond the confines of the inner palace. Emperor Gaozong was often plagued by illness, leaving Wu increasingly involved in matters of state. She sat behind a screen during court audiences, listening, learning, and subtly influencing decisions. She proved herself a capable administrator, intelligent and decisive. Her influence grew steadily, earning her both allies and powerful enemies among the court officials who resented a woman wielding such power. Her main opposition came from the powerful chancellors and the established aristocratic clans who saw her rise as a threat to their traditional authority and the Confucian order, which placed women firmly subordinate to men. They tried to block her influence and remove her allies. Wu responded ruthlessly, using Gaozong's authority to dismiss, exile, or even execute those who opposed her too openly. She began promoting officials from lower-ranking families who owed their careers, and thus their loyalty, solely to her. She was building her own government within the government. When Emperor Gaozong died, Wu Zetian's path to absolute power accelerated. Her control was already immense, but now, as Empress Dowager, she held the reins directly. First, she ruled through her sons, placing them on the throne as puppet emperors. When her eldest son, Emperor Tuzong, showed signs of independence and favored his wife's family, Wu ruthlessly deposed him and exiled him. She then installed her younger, more pliable son, Rizong, as the new emperor, but kept him under virtual house arrest, making all decisions herself. To consolidate her power and eliminate any remaining opposition, she created her own secret police force. This notorious organization operated outside the normal legal structures, relying on a vast network of informants, brutal torture methods, and forced confessions. They unleashed a reign of terror within the court and the bureaucracy. Officials lived in constant dread of being denounced by rivals or even subordinates. Even minor criticisms or perceived disloyalty could lead to arrest, exile to remote regions, or execution, often along with their entire families. This reign of terror effectively silenced dissent and allowed Wu to eliminate potential rivals with brutal efficiency, particularly among the old aristocratic families who despised her origins and challenged her authority. Accusations, torture, and executions became her common tools for maintaining absolute control. Finally, in 690 AD, she did the unthinkable, having systematically eliminated all opposition and built an unshakable base of power. Wu Zetian cast aside the pretense. She deposed her son, declared the founding of her own dynasty, the Zhou dynasty, and proclaimed herself Huangdi, emperor. Not empress, but emperor, the supreme male title. She was the first and only woman in Chinese history to ever hold this position in her own right. The concubine had become the son of heaven. Her reign as emperor was a complex mixture of ruthlessness and surprising competence. While she continued to brutally suppress dissent, she also proved to be an effective ruler. She recruited talented officials based on merit through the examination system, regardless of their family background. She reformed agriculture, reduced taxes, and expanded the empire's borders through successful military campaigns. One of her key strategies for maintaining power was her skillful use of Buddhism. While Confucianism frowned upon female rulers, Buddhism offered narratives of powerful female deities and enlightened rulers. Wu Zetian heavily patronized Buddhist temples and scholars, commissioned grand statues, like those at the Longmen Grottos, allegedly modeled after her own face, and even had sutras discovered that prophesied the reincarnation of Maitreya Buddha as a female monarch. This provided her reign with a divine legitimacy that bypassed traditional Confucian objections. She ruled as emperor for 15 years, until she was eventually deposed in a palace coup shortly before her death. But her legacy was undeniable. Wu Zetian, the concubine who became emperor, shattered millennia of tradition. Her code was one of absolute ambition, masterful political maneuvering, and a terrifying willingness to eliminate anyone who stood in her way. She proved that a woman could not only navigate the treacherous world of imperial politics, but could conquer it entirely, leaving an indelible, controversial mark on Chinese history. And that is the architecture of the ambition of Wu Zetian. Remember, history is more than a story, it's a code, and there is always another layer to decrypt. Subscribe and continue the investigation with us.